Men in society are in a bad place. We've all been conditioned with the notion that emotions are weak or to cry is bad, and that somehow expressing your emotions as a man or letting people know how you really feel makes you less of a man. And I'd like to argue that that is the opposite of the truth. Unfortunately, as a society, we've been taught from a young age that men don't cry, that men should keep it sucked up inside, that you should just bury it down deeper and deeper, whatever you're going through. But that's the reason why there are so many issues in our society with violence, with this, with that. There's so many negative expressions of simply emotions that have been left unexpressed. And I think it's honestly dangerous to society if we continue at this pace, because it's just being continually reinforced that emotions equal weakness. To cry means you're weak or you're feminine or you're not a man. Like, no one's gonna give you a medal for not crying after going through something tough. And so I just wanna open up this conversation because it's something that men aren't having. I think we need to change the idea that emotions equal weakness, because everyone has emotions. Every man has gone through stuff that makes him feel bad, that makes him feel sad, that makes him feel horrible inside. But unfortunately, we all feel like we just need to be strong. Like, you just have to thug it out and go through it and just keep going. Like, you don't need to, like, there's this thing that like you ought to do it alone, and that it's stronger if you're able to go through things alone, when really there are people that you can lean on and count on in certain situations that will help you through it, that will make you feel better, that will, I guess, almost limit the long-term effects that a single event could have on you. Because men don't realize that a single traumatic event or going through something that is excruciating, or even like, I don't know, just resentments, going through that alone and keeping it all bottled up inside just allows it to fester and grow and later express itself in unwanted ways. That could be health issues, that could be mental issues, it could be violence, it could be outbursts, it could be literally anything. And so recognizing that you need to process these things properly, you need to talk about it. You might not even need to talk about it. There are ways that I'll get to in the end that you can deal with these things. But as a society, men just need to be aware of this stuff, because if we keep going down the road that we're on, the future is dark. And so there's so much, like, there needs to be a change in the way that we perceive this. I think that having emotion and being able to open up and show emotion as a man is one of the strongest things you can do, because you're being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is not weakness. Being vulnerable requires strength, it requires courage, and it honestly requires that you be a man. And I'm not saying you should get over emotional about like every little thing, like, oh, this happened, and just whine, because that's a whole nother thing. But when you're going through something, it's a good thing to be able to open up, to be able to be vulnerable. And there are still things that you can do. If you're not ready to open up to someone else, at least you can open up to yourself and start being honest with yourself about what you're doing, what you're going through, what you're feeling. And unfortunately, a lot of men are so out of touch with their emotions that they don't even recognize that they've been going through some shit their entire life. Maybe there's something from childhood they still haven't even processed. They might not even be aware of until they start to ask those questions like, oh, why do I react like this in certain situations? Why do little things like this make me mad all the time? Why do I just feel not okay with myself? And these are the things that you'll start to uncover when you start doing the work, the real work that comes when you stop searching everywhere outside of yourself and begin to look within yourself, because you're not gonna find what you're looking for outside until you look within and figure out the stuff going on inside. It's like if you walk into a room and there's just like pizza crusts, there's unwashed dishes, it stinks, and and then you wonder why you can't be happy in that room. That's like an analogy for what's going on inside of people's head. There's all these negative thoughts, these cycles, these intrusive thoughts that just go on replay throughout the day, and people wonder why they can't be happy, or why they're not happy now that they have the car that they wanted, or the boat that they wanted, or the apartment, or the relationship that they wanted. You have to clean up what's going on in here before you are going to see external results as something that actually fulfills you. And so it's better to start in here than it is to acquire everything you can out there and realize that it's not gonna clean you up, it's not gonna make you happy. And so some ways that you can do this as a man that are like the easiest, easiest ways to get into it, you don't even have to be that vulnerable, you just have to be vulnerable with yourself, are journaling. Like, ask yourself, like, why do I feel the way that I do when I feel bad? Or what's going on inside my head? Or what traumatic events in the past might still be expressing themselves in unwanted ways? And why didn't I process it then? When are some times where you just haven't been able to cry? I mean, as a man, there have been times where I've been all the time where it's like you feel all this emotion expressed up inside of you, you feel horrible, it's like, it's excruciating, but you just can't cry because you've been so conditioned that men don't cry, that you need to be tough or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, no one's giving you a medal. No one's handing out medals saying, oh, you didn't cry, here's your man medal, you're more of a man now. It doesn't work like that. And so relearning how to cry as a man is something that is honestly powerful, but I'll get into that in another video maybe. And one other thing that I found extremely effective to be able to just get things off of my chest, whether it's like small little resentments that build up, whether I'm just feeling anxious or not really sure what's going on in my mental work, and I don't really have anyone to like talk to, or I don't want to talk to someone about it, I will literally just go onto my phone, find the voice record app, and I will just press record, and I will basically just talk about how I'm feeling. Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? What do I need to do to get out of this, whatever it is that I'm in? And I oftentimes find by the time I get to the end of what I have to say, it's like untangling wires in your brain. You're able to talk things through so that you're better able to frame it and think about it in your own head. When you start reframing and finding new perspectives through talking about it, through journaling, that's where the growth lies, because you ultimately want to get to a place where your perspective serves you and helps you operate at a better level than remaining in perspectives that keep you limited and stuck in certain negative habits, negative cycles, or whatever. And so I hope you found some value in this, guys. I really do. Try one of these things. Try journaling, try recording, try talking. If you have a friend that you're comfortable talking with, talk about it. Open up the conversation. Like, bro, how are you really doing? Like, are you good? Like, am I good? You know, is it okay if I talk? Like, there are things you can do, but men as a society, we really just have to start opening up and taking responsibility for our mental and emotional health, because no one else is going to do it for you. You can't keep bottling it down inside. It's not good for you. You know it's not good for you. Stop making jokes about the fact that you're just hiding your emotions and drinking all the time to hide them or to bury it deeper. It's time to look inside. And if there's one thing that you get from this video, I hope it's that. It's time to look inside. Stop looking for things outside yourself. Do the inner work, which is sometimes the hardest work that you can do, and you will find that your external world becomes a much more pleasant place to live in. I appreciate you guys watching. If you got this far in the video, thank you. Leave a like, subscribe, comment anything that you think down below. I would love to open up conversations down in the comments. And I really do appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.